We're back with another recipe for you.
And since it's Christmas time, we decided to make a really simple recipe that you can take with you to any holiday party that you have coming up. Today, we're making
Holly Dolly.
So for this recipe, all you're going to need is 2 cups of graham cracker crumbs, a bag of semi-sweet chocolate chips, a little bit of sweetened dried shredded coconut, melted butter, and 1 can, which you probably won't use a whole can depending on the size of the baking sheet you have, but of sweetened condensed milk.
And I just wanted to shout it out too because this was actually a request that we got on our Instagram. You guys can follow us below at
Hot Mess Cooking Express. This is something that I make and take to almost every single event that I go to, and every single time I take it, people are blown away. Get ready for how easy this is. So we're gonna take the graham cracker crumb, we're gonna pour it into the bottom of the pan. This is about a 13 by 7 sheet. I don't know the exact measurements.
Our measurements are going off the size of a MacBook, so
you know, accuracy. So we're gonna put that into the bottom, and then you're gonna take your butter and you're going to add that in. First I'm gonna put about half of it. And then make sure you wash your hands for this part, but you're going to just mix all the butter and the graham cracker crumbs around.
this is such an interactive, like, family kind of recipe that you can do with your kids.
But once you put the butter in and you start mixing, it should be about this consistency. Not too wet and not too dry, but if you push it together, it does form like a clump. That way when you push it into the bottom of the pan, it creates a nice base layer for all the other ingredients that are gonna go on top.
Yeah, it looks like a cheesecake base.
That's exactly what it's like. If it's too dry, what's going to happen is when you actually bake it and then cut it and try to serve it, all the graham cracker crumb is just gonna fall apart and it's actually not gonna create a base. And then you're just gonna have a mess. And try to get the base as evenly Steven. Once you pack it into the bottom, you should have a base that looks something like that. And now you wash your hands.
That's really pretty. Also make sure, before you even start this, preheat the oven to 350. Saves you a little bit of time.
Awesome, so once you have that base down, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the condensed milk and you're just gonna pour it on top. So you want a layer that's just thick enough to cover, but not too thick.
Because as much as you guys are learning, I'm here to learn too. We're relaxing, we're eating, we're having a great time. And if you guys don't know what that's from, Google it. Do you know what that's from? Honey Boo Boo? You never seen that?
I never watched Honey Boo Boo.
Oh, it's the best clip ever. She's sitting there with her chicken nuggets and she goes,
Oh my God.
I'm relaxing, I'm eating, having a great time.
There we go. But you can see that I evenly coated it. You want to make sure that there's no like streaks that are uncovered by the condensed milk. And that's for the fun part. We're just gonna throw on the toppings.
My favorite thing.
Keep in mind that you can put absolutely anything on here.
Too much?
No, I mean, all the chocolate is good.
Yeah, I was gonna say, don't disrespect me.
I've also put on red and green M&Ms, like mini M&Ms for Christmas time. That's a really good idea as well. You can crush up cookies and you can put that on top. Like, you can put absolutely anything you want on here.
I think we might need to make 5 videos on different Dollies.
And that's what's fun about it, because you can get creative and you can make it however you want or however your kids want to make it. You can each give them like each a little section and they can kind of create it however
that's
they
cute.
want. Yeah, it's really sweet.
Or you guys can do Holly Dolly bake-offs.
So then yeah, you just
take some shredded coconut.
And that's it. We're done.
That's the whole thing.
That's the whole thing. Once you get used to it and once you've made it a couple of times, I think this probably takes me prep time minus the oven time, maybe 5 minutes.
Wow.
Honestly, 5 minutes to make. And then I throw it in the oven while I'm getting ready. We're good to go.
It's a Holly Dolly Christmas.
All right, so let's throw them into the oven. Like I said, it is preheated at 350. They're probably going to be in there for about 20 to 25 minutes. Basically what you're going to want to look for is when the condensed milk starts to bubble and starts to brown. That's when you want to pull it out.
The smell of this kitchen right now is driving me into a frenzy.
It smells so good.
I think neighbors are gonna start coming and knocking and being like, "What is going on here?"
You
do you know that meme? What is going on here? Breakfast.
Honestly, it smells so good. If you try anything from this channel, you have to try these just for the smell of it. It's ridiculous.
So they've been sitting inside there for about 20 minutes now. And I'm so happy that they're done.
So this is what I meant when you want to wait until it's kind of bubbling around here and it's golden brown. That way you know that the condensed milk has cooked, so it's not going to be super runny and it's actually going to be that thick, gooey texture that you want.
See the little crumbles of coconut?
Yeah. Sometimes what I do after as well is I'll sprinkle some more chocolate chips on there just because they do get lost sometimes. Should we do that?
Did you taste that coconut?
I've tasted it, trust me. So we're just gonna sprinkle a few more on there.
Oh man, we need more chocolate chips. Aww, I hate when that happens.
And this is also when you can sprinkle those red and green M&Ms on top of there.
And I will call right now that the word of the week, even though I want it to be something like Holly Dolly, even though I don't know what that means, I think it's decadent.
It is decadent.
It has to be decadent.
This whole recipe is decadent.
Don't need to use those chocolate chips, but it's decadent. You smelt it in here.
So what we're gonna do now is you have to make sure that they're cooled kind of to the touch before you cut them, because if you cut them while they're still hot, they're just gonna fall apart everywhere. We're just gonna let them sit for about 20 to 25 minutes and we'll get back to you after that.
It cooled.
I think someone's excited.
I'm not cool, but that's cool.
Okay, so let's cut it up so you can see what it looks like. Another little tip that I usually do is I always wipe the knife off before I continue cutting, just because you can see that it kind of drags as the chocolate and the graham cracker kind of come up. So I like to clean it off so that you have nice clean cuts instead of it looking a little messy.
They're looking crazy.
Usually what I like to do is when I'm taking out the first few, I'll use a fork, just because obviously the spatula is really big to get in there at first. So let's take...
Here, just drop it right in here.
Open up! Woo!
You know that I'm about to break this in front of the camera for everyone to see.
So you can kind of see what I was talking about here on the bottom, how the graham cracker does still fall apart. That's okay.
I have to say thank you guys for leaving us that suggestion to make this recipe, because if it wasn't for you guys, I'd have to wait until probably actual Christmas
for me to make them for you.
Okay, Rosalind, we get it.
Okay.
It's like cookies.
Yeah.
Oh, it actually smells like chocolate chip cookies, but just like with a nice little twist. Cheers, and have a holly dolly Christmas, as she already ate without me.
These need to leave. I can't have these in here.
So, this is my favorite video that we've ever made.
That's it for this recipe. A very, very easy way to take a dessert to your next holiday party.
As always, make sure, if you haven't already, because it's really rude if you haven't already, click that subscription button below.
And make sure to tap that like button if you like the recipe, and leave us some more suggestions down there in the comments or on our Instagram, which I'll put across the screen right here, because as you can see, good things come from suggestions.
I agree. So we will see you next Wednesday.